So I had an epiphany the other night when I was coming home from work, and I'm not actually quite sure how I got on this subject, but for some reason I was thinking, ooh, yes, let's do that. For some reason, I was thinking about the show Futurama. Now, a lot of you know that I am a huge fan of math and science. I love science. It's one of those things that's cool because you can understand more about the world around you and what's going on and all sorts of good stuff through the world of science. Now, I'm a huge physics person, but I like chemistry as well, and biology is all right. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge biology fan, but you know, it's not bad. It's all right. So, but for some reason, this was yesterday as I was coming home. For some reason, I was thinking about the show Futurama, and specifically, I was thinking about the episode. It's in the 6th season called Mobius Dick, which is obviously a play on both Herman Melville's Moby Dick as well as the Mobius strip, which is is that considered two-dimensional? I'm second guessing myself. I think it's a two-dimensional object that goes on forever. So, but for some reason, I was thinking about this episode. Now, this is the one where the professor sends the crew of the Planet Express ship to go and explore the reason why so many different ships were going into the what is that called? Bermuda tetrahedron. That's right. It was the Bermuda tetrahedron. Play on their Bermuda Triangle there, and not coming back. And the reason why is because there was a great 4-dimensional space whale there. And so this is where there's a nod to Moby Dick here. Obviously, there'll be some more comparisons on it later. And so for some reason, I was thinking about the difference between Moby Dick and this episode. And specifically, I was thinking about, I gotta be careful here. I don't even know what I'm doing in this tomb. I've gotta wait for them to do their thing, I think, and then apparently attack this one. I'm assuming this is the one we want to attack. My shots don't even really reach. All right, we'll go here. That looks like a good spot for now. So, I hope I don't get insta-popped. That would be disappointing. So, but for some reason, I was thinking about the difference between like naval battles in space versus naval battles actually like on the ocean. So, in order for me to make this analogy here, think about the ship from Moby Dick, or just any old ship with sails on it, like an old pirate ship type ship, right? And think about it on a 3D Cartesian coordinate system. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's the one where you have 3 different axes that are 90 degrees away from each other. It's the one most people think of when they think of coordinate systems, where you have the X, the Y, and the Z directions, right? That's a Cartesian coordinate system. So, let's see. This can probably be a while, isn't it? I could go over and help them. I don't know what I would be doing, but either way, I don't know. We have time to talk here. This will be good. So, we're gonna go into some science and some math here, but we're not gonna get into it too deep. I had this epiphany, and I don't even know why I was thinking about this. It was strange, but all right. So imagine a ship on a 3D Cartesian coordinate system. Now that ship, we're gonna call the x-axis from the front to the back of the ship. So if you're moving straight, you're going positively along the x-axis. The y-axis would be left and right. So it's the other direction that the ship can move. And then the Z or the Z, depending on what part of the world you are in currently. The Z-axis would be like the mass of the ship, straight up into the air or straight down into the ocean. Now, a normal ship on the ocean can only move in like 2-dimensional space. It can only move in 2 directions. You can go front and back, and you can go left to right, and you can like turn and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, you can go in 2 dimensions. You can't, the captain of the ship can't go all right, we're gonna go 10 meters up from here and just levitate in air because that's not how ships work, right? And because it's not a submarine, he can't go down into the ocean. So for all intents and purposes, the ship from from Moby Dick, can only really move in 2 dimensions. Now I understand that there's gonna be waves and stuff, and the boat's gonna bob up and down, but we're gonna throw that out and say, okay, yeah, the ship itself is only really actually moving in 2 dimensions. That's the only 2 dimensions that the actual person can say the ship can go into. Okay. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a bad spot here. Okay. Armor broken is never a good thing for sure. I might have to concentrate here, but hold those thoughts. They will be important here in a second. So visualize the ship, right? As it moves. I feel like this would be a dungeon better suited to something with a little bit more range to it, you know, like my mystic from Nilly's realm. But it's all right. Armor broken, almost dead. Not dead, thank you. Not dead. Not like this. Not like this. All right, so we got some damage in though, which is good. I doubt we're gonna get anything, but we can learn. I don't know how people solo these. I gotta watch some of those videos. Somebody sent me a video of them soloing a tomb today. It just looks like such a cluster. How do you even, I don't even know. People much better at this game than I am, that's for sure. So, but, okay, so. Can we get rid of, should we be getting rid of those, is the question, I guess, right? Should we be getting rid of those pyramids? I don't know. Okay. We are stunned. We are out here all alone by ourselves. There's no one here beside me. My troubles have all gone. There's no one to eride me. All right. Is that it? Did we do it? Did we kill all of the things? I don't think I did like any damage. I feel like, you know, we got a few shots in, but you know what? It's an experience. And it's one of those things I feel like to get better at tombs and stuff, I'm very hands-on. I just need to do it some more. And so this is us doing it some more. Now, I think it would have been better as a ranged class for sure. Maybe next time we see one, we will go in as a ranged class instead. But that is next time. That is not this time. That is next time. Either way, let's just keep going over here to the Godlands or something. I will take that. Thank you. All right, so we were talking about ships and naval battles and all sorts of other fun, interesting stuff. So, okay, so the ship from Moby Dick can only travel in basically 2 directions. We're gonna fudge it a little bit and say that it can only travel in 2 dimensions, right? I think that makes sense. I think you guys can all visualize that, right? Now the whale is a creature of the sea. The whale itself can actually travel in 3 dimensions, right? Because it can go front, back, side to side, and it can submerge and go under the water. And so the whale itself can actually travel in 3 dimensions. And now this is important because the whale, let's see, is there anybody in here? The whale, we need 8 decks. So I'm actually looking for Sprite worlds right now, is what I'm actively looking for. The whale can travel in 3 dimensions, which means that it can escape the ship, and it can go underwater, and the ship has to wait for it to come back up. It could come back up behind them or next to them or underneath them or and ram or what have you, right? So, but the whale can travel in 3 dimensions. Now that brings us to Mobius Dick, or the Futurama episode. Now, what I think is interesting about this episode is they took the same concept and applied it to a 3D battle. So, as you all know, the Planet Express ship can move in 3 dimensions. And so, if there was just a three-dimensional space whale, then the ship could sit there and it could track it and it could follow it and stuff, and the whale could never get away. That's an important thing. The whale can get away in Moby Dick because it can go under the water. But in space, there is no water. There's only space. And so the ship itself can move in 3 dimensions. And so in Futurama, they applied the same concept where the whale can move in one more dimension than the ship, and made it a 4-dimensional space whale. Now, 4 dimensions is something that's very difficult to imagine because we live in you could say we live in a 3-dimensional world, right? What is going on? Is that guy like... was that guy hacking? Did you guys see that? It's like he went straight for it. I don't know. But... so in Futurama, the whale was a... oh, thank you. The whale was a 4-dimensional whale, so it could move in and out of 4-dimensional space. Now, of course, like I said, that's hard to imagine because we live... oh... or... okay, I was like, what is going on? Okay, I had a mini heart attack. I was like, do we just get killed by a green slime? Because that would be embarrassing. All right, we're gonna run past all these fools here. They're all cursed. And I'm quieted, which is not a good thing. Gotta keep on trucking, baby. Gotta keep on rolling. Okay, this does not look good. Once we got slowed, that was it. I was feeling good until that part, and then we got slowed, and nope, I noped right out of there. So... I guess we could have gone invisible. I don't know if that would have really helped us, but either way, there's nowhere for us to go. All right, well, we can talk about why I think this is interesting. So in Futurama, the whale can escape into the 4th dimension. Now, this is important because, like I said, that gives the whale some place to hide. But I just thought it was a cool little... similarity, drawn between the two that, all right, I can just see the writing for Futurama to where they're like, all right, in Moby Dick, the whale could hide. We need a way for the whale to hide in Futurama if we're going to do this, because otherwise that's no good. And then somebody had to say, well, why don't we just add another dimension, right? And mimic Moby Dick. I don't know if that actually happened or not, but that's the way that I foresee it happen. Now, one of the things you have to realize about Futurama is that it was written by an incredible cast of writers. Now, we're talking about 3 people with PhDs, 7 people with masters, a lot of them from Harvard, and just an amazing group of writers, right? So... and this is the reason why I love Futurama so much, is because they incorporate a lot of science into their comedy show. There's not a lot of... I wouldn't say there's a lot of really good comedy science shows. I can't really think of too many. I would say Doctor Who gets enough of a pass to say, okay, that's science fiction-y enough to be a science-y show. It doesn't have a lot of like actual science in it. Which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I do like me some Doctor Who. I think it's funny. I do enjoy the fact that it is at least somewhat science fiction-y. So that one gets a pass in my book. There's The Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory is all right. I used to like it a lot until I started realizing that it was all a lot of kind of like pseudoscience for the most part. Like, we're just gonna say nerdy words so that our show can look nerdy, and oh, look guys, look how nerdy we look, and all this kind of stuff. And there wasn't actually a lot of actual science going into it, which was a little disappointing when I realized that, But either way, it is a funny show. I do like it occasionally. I feel like it has slightly gone downhill, for sure, but it's not bad. I'd like some of those potions. I'll take that one, thank you. And that's really like all I can think of off the top of my head right now. So, but I really enjoy shows that get science right. And so I was thinking about this in the car. I was like, what makes a good science fiction show? And to me, a good science fiction show bridges the gap between their science and reality. So let me explain. So if your science fiction show has a laser beam that fires hot dogs, that's not something that could ever like really actually happen in the real world, you know? Like, we're never gonna have a hot dog laser. I'm sorry. I know there's so many people out there who really, really wanted hot dog lasers. It was on their top of their bucket list of what they wanted, but I'm sorry, it's something that's probably never gonna happen, right? So, but now I'm thinking, okay, so what makes a good science fiction show? And I was trying to think, who are my favorite like science fiction writers, other than obviously the crew over who does Futurama and that kind of stuff. And I think my favorite science fiction writer has to be Michael Crichton, because Michael Crichton adds a lot of stuff that, like, yeah, that actually, you know, it's a little bit out there, but it's something that absolutely could have happened in the real world. Now, if you don't know who Michael Crichton is, I don't blame you, because I think he actually passed away for a while. He was like a doctor and a scientist, and very, very well educated, well read. You may recognize him by one of his most famous franchises. There was 2 books, Jurassic Park and The Lost World. Of course, there's 3 movies. That's because they made it into a 3rd movie by hodgepodging the scenes from the first 2 together and making a 3rd movie out of it. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. So, yeah, the thing I like about Michael Crichton, right? And let's take Jurassic Park, for example, right? So if I was to write a book and I wanted dinosaurs to be in my book, there's a lot of different ways that you can get dinosaurs in your book. I think we can all agree that some sort of time travel would be up there as something that would, you know, make sense. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, just invent time travel. But as we all know, time travel is something that doesn't/can't really exist. I think, you know, it's possible. It's still something that's possible. I'm not going to say nothing's possible, but I think we've pretty much said that time travel itself can't exist, except for, you know, and Futurama talked about this, except for time travel in the positive T direction, I guess you could say, you know, into the future. You can time travel into the future. In fact, you're doing it right now just by living and breathing and watching this video, I suppose. But so time travel, if you want your show to be believable, is out. And just a funny little aside there, right? The way that Futurama did time travel is brilliant. There's an episode, I can't remember what it was called, but the professor created a time traveling device, but that device could only travel into the future, and so you could only go into the future, which it sounds like it would be useless, right? But you just have to watch it. It's a great episode. You should watch that one as well. Basically, they time traveled into the future so far that history repeated itself, and then they were back into the past. Yeah, I might have just spoiled it for you, but there's a lot more going on there, but that's just kind of the gist of it, right? But the thing I like about Michael Crichton, right? Okay, so we were, oh my freaking god, 60 HP. Holy smackerel. All right. I don't really want that, actually. All right, so different ways to get dinosaurs in your book. All right, so you can do time travel. Okay, cool. The other one that comes to mind is, I can't exactly remember. I think it was 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Is that the one where they go into the center of the earth and the dinosaurs were there? I think that's it. I could be thinking of a different book entirely. I need to actually read that book. It's been on my list of, ooh, yes. It's been on my list of books to read, to be completely honest with you. But I just have so many books on that list. I just don't get to too many. Right now I'm reading Sherlock Holmes, by the way. So, but yeah, so okay. So in that one, okay, that that one's to me is a little bit more believable because we have a good idea of what's in the center of the earth, right? We have a really good idea of what's there. But you know what? We could be wrong. I don't think we are, but hey, it's possible that we are incorrect. And so that being said, there could be dinosaurs in the middle of the earth. Now, I think that we can agree that that's probably not true. Plus, if there were dinosaurs in the middle of the earth, then is that no, it's not. Then what would happen would be they would probably evolve over this time and they would probably be blind, right? Like most things that live in caves under the earth and stuff are all blind and they'd have different adaptations. They wouldn't be necessarily quote unquote dinosaurs is the way that they originally were, way back in the day, right? So, but I don't know. So that's another way of having dinosaurs in your book. But Michael Crichton, he thought a little bit more realistically, and I think I can imagine him sitting there in this big plush chair with his quill and paper. No, he's not that old. He might have liked a quill. Who knows? And think, okay, I want to make a book about dinosaurs. How can I realistically add dinosaurs to this book in a way that actually could happen in the real world? Now, if you don't know anything about Jurassic Park, what happens is that they take DNA from amber. Now, amber is just tree sap that's petrified, basically, right? I'm sure everybody knows that for sure. But they took the amber, right? And some of the amber has insects in it, and if that insect, let's say a mosquito, bit a dinosaur and had dinosaur blood in it, and then it got amberified, and you were able to extract the DNA from that bug in that amber, well, now you have dinosaur DNA. And if you have DNA of something, then you can clone it. And if you can clone it, well, then you have dinosaurs. And that's kind of what happened. Now, this is a completely logical path, other than the fact that DNA will decompose after, several million years or whatever. I don't remember the exact time frame, but it will decompose. So, it's the most believable of the three, though, right? That we pitched. I mean, like, what other ways could you have dinosaurs in your book? I'm sure we could think of some other ones, but to me, out of the three, that one is by far the most believable. So, and that's why I like Michael Crichton, because his writing, at least most of it, will bridge the gap between reality and science fiction, and in a believable way. And to me, that makes it a lot more terrifying, because if it's something that could never really happen in real life, you're like, there's always that, oh, a haunted cemetery. Yes, please. There's always that kind of like, well, that would never happen, But if it's something that could happen in real life, then there's that little nagging feeling in the back of your head is like, okay, this could actually happen, guys, And that makes it much more terrifying. And that's the type of science fiction I like. Now, I do like other science fiction, even if it's not completely believable, right? In fact, okay, here's a good example. Star Trek comes out. Star Trek has all these cool science fiction-y gadgets, right? And these science fiction-y gadgets, people are like, oh, we're never going to have that kind of stuff. But there's a list out there of all of the science fiction-y gadgets that people said, oh, we'll never have that. It's just science fiction from a TV show that we actually have now, right? And so there's always that this could happen type thing, right? But sometimes it's a little bit too far-fetched, At least that's what we think now. Who knows in the future, Nobody said, hey, in the future we're all gonna be 3D printing organs or something, right? But that's something that's kind of happening now. So there we go. I got nothing. This guy is very, very strong. I have a feeling, yeah, they have the Morning Star bow or whatever. I think that's what it is. I have a feeling we're not gonna get much, but that's okay. We're here to have fun, and we're here to talk science fiction-y stuff. So that is what we're gonna do. Also, quick aside, I don't like the new snowman skin. I think it looks kind of derpy. I liked the one before where we could change our eyes to match our skin, and therefore we could be an eyeless, featureless snowman. That was my thing, and they took it away. They took away, that was my thing, man. But okay, back to science fiction. That's one thing I like about Michael Crichton, right? So he's done other books. Obviously, the Andromeda Strain. It's about an asteroid or meteor. I don't remember the difference actually, right off the top of my head. That hits Earth and has some sort of a bacteria or something on it that is infecting a lot of people, and they have to race against the clock in order to find a cure. So that's one of his books. I just finished reading one called Sphere, where they find a ship, a spaceship in the bottom of the ocean that seems to be more advanced than the spaceships that we've ever had. And it's been there for like 200 years or something, right? Because they can measure the coral growth and say, okay, this coral has been undisturbed and this amount of growth says that it's been here for like 200 years, right? Which is kind of cool. And then there's a sphere inside of that ship and it does things. I'm not going to spoil that one for you. He's had a lot of them. There was another one where they went back in time. I know I just talked about how time travel is not good and how I don't like it, but there's a good one. What is that one? They go back in time and back to the Middle Ages. I can't remember. Timeline. That one's called Timeline. That's a good one as well. So yeah, so definitely if you like science fiction and good writing, you can't go wrong with like any of the Michael Crichton books, to be honest. Don't really care. So you can't really go wrong with any of them. I mean, I really suggest them for sure. So let's ready up here. So, and that's one of the things I like about Futurama too, is they do bridge that gap a lot. Now, like I said, they have, was it 7 writers with master's degrees in math and science, and 7 PhD writers with math and science degrees. So a lot of pedigree there. I think that's how you use that word. I are smart. A lot there for sure, right? And that's, I really enjoy the fact that I get the humor in that show, and also there's a science-y aspect to it to where I kind of almost learn stuff at the same time. You know what I mean? I really enjoy that about Futurama. And that's basically all I had to really talk about today, which is kind of science fiction-y stuff. Obviously, if they didn't have the answer to something, they made it up in that show, which is totally fine as well, right? Like, for instance, a smelloscope, would that actually function in real life? I don't think it would, you know, but who's to know? Maybe they find a way to, I don't know, shine the light off of a smell particle, capture the wavelength of that or something, or the frequency response of that, and then somehow make that back into a smell on our end. Who knows? I don't know. But you know, it's just a fun thing. I love that show, guys. I have a lot of respect for that show. It's been canceled 4 times. It's been going for 14 years, I believe, over like 7 seasons. That sounds right. But it's, you know, who knows if it'll come back. I sure hope it does. I would love to see that show come back for sure. We will take that. Here, you can have this stuff. All right, I think he's gone. Well, we just out DPS an 8 out of 8. So there's that, I suppose. Yep, he's gone. All right, well, let's just not do that ourselves, because that's suicide, and we will move on. So that's pretty much all I had to talk about today. I think this is a great stopping point either way. I hope that you found that interesting. It's something I could probably talk about quite a bit longer if we did, if we weren't done with our 30 minutes, if it wasn't up. If you guys are interested, let me know. I can keep talking about this kind of stuff. I just love science and math. I think that's what it comes down to. If you ever need help with science and math stuff, I'm always here. I can't say I have all the answers or that I could necessarily help you at the time that you need it, but I'll try. Discord's probably the best way to get a hold of me. And mostly just because I just love answering questions and doing that kind of stuff. So here, let's drop that. We don't need it. We'll keep these. I think we have a better sword than that one. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing, incredible, phantasmagorical day. And I will see you in the next episode.